Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki, chanting the glories of the Vaishnavas ki. Om Jnana Timirapasya Jnanaranjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave. I found this prayer yesterday that I was quite excited to find. It's from the Sri Saraswati Mata. It didn't say who the author was, but it's called the Acharya Vandana. I don't know if Maharaj maybe knows who the author is, but such a beautiful prayer. And the 18th verse says, Vaishnavera Gunagana Korite Jiveratrana Shuniyachi Sadhu Guru Mukhi. I have heard from the sadhus and gurus that souls are delivered by singing the glories of devotees. So this practice of glorifying the Vaishnavas is so auspicious at any time, but especially so on their appearance day, disappearance day. These are opportunities to remember such great souls. Mo Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Gaura Shakti Swarup is the incarnation of the potency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's no small thing. That's quite a meditation in and of itself, that he is the energy, Gaura Shakti Swarup. And Rupanuga Varayate, the greatest of the followers of the Goswamis, so much so that he is considered the 7th Goswami. When you follow very strictly a certain practice, then it becomes your life and soul, and you become non-different from that practice. Guru Mukha Padmavakya Chittate Kuryayakya, the words emanating from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master, when there's no other room in the heart and the mind for any other topics, then you become those instructions. Adana Kori Homanayasha. I have no other room in my mind for anything besides the words emanating from the lotus mouth of Sri Guru. So I thought, to begin with, because this is a prayer that we chant every day, it's easy to become jaded, or at the very least, unconscious when we chant Jayarada Madhava. And sometimes I forget just how powerful this prayer is. Our Srila Prabhupada commented that it was the perfect picture of Vrindavan. We have everything there. Radha Madhava, we have Jashoda, we have all the cowherd men and women, we have Govardhan Hill. The Brajajanas include all the cowherd boys, all the calves. We have the banks of the Jamuna. We have a very perfect and complete picture of Vrindavan, so condensed. It's quite special in how it's been presented so succinctly in so few words. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihar. We have Radha and Krishna in the forest groves. Gopi Jana Vallabha. So I was reading Prabhupada's purport on this Jai Radha Madhava prayer, and Prabhupada was commenting that the lover of the gopis, Krishna, is being served by all of these gopis, but it's reciprocated. It's not a one-way street. That service which is rendered to Krishna is fully reciprocated, if not more so. It said we take one step towards Krishna, he takes 10 towards us. So it's this very beautiful reciprocation between the lover and the beloved. Gopi Jana Vallabha. And Girivardhari is lifting the Govardhan Hill, a very nice example of protecting the residents of Vrindavan. Gupta Gosha Raksha Raksha Mam Tadya Pankajaksha. Jubir Prabhu taught me that a prayer from Rupa Goswami. Yagya Bhanga, he destroyed the yagya, that was for Indra. Yagya Bhanga Rushta Shakra, this angered Indra very much. Nuna Ghora Mega Chakra, and he immediately called some serious rain clouds. Ghora Mega, very scary rain clouds. Nuna Ghora Mega Chakra. assembly of them, a circle of these clouds. Vikshanopa Kopa, and this angered, or this caused great fear in all the coward people. Vikshanopa Kopa. Kopa means anger. I guess this angered Krishna. Krishna got very angry seeing all his coward family so afraid. And then Kshipta Sabya Hasta Padma, the Haritocha Shaila Shabna. He lifted the hill with his left hand. Oh, that's why I skipped it. I was wondering why Krishna was getting angry. I realized I skipped a verse. Line. Yagyabanga Rusha Shakta Nuna Kor Mega Shakta Vikshano Pajata Kopta Sabya Hasta Padma. Anyway, last line, Gupta Gosha Raksha Raksha Mam Tatalya Pankajaksha. The cowherd people are praying, Raksha Raksha, please protect us, please protect us. Mam Tatalya Pankajaksha, O lotus-eyed Lord. So this is the reciprocation of the Lord with his intimate devotees, is that they instantly think of him when they're in trouble. The joke is that when you're about to get in a car accident, instead of thinking of Krishna, you say, "Osh," and then you get born as a worm in the stool. So this instant tendency to think of Krishna when we're in trouble. The cowherd men and women are being pummeled by rain that is described as being the size of pillars. Indra didn't go light. He didn't send a normal rain cloud. He sent the clouds of devastation. Samvartaka is described in Bhagavatam as showing up when the annihilation of the universe is required. So he was really planning on causing some havoc. And there's some beautiful, beautiful descriptions. When I first joined the Sanskrit school, Gopi Pranadam Prabhu's Sanskrit school in Govardhan, they were just entering that chapter in Bhagavatam. And as they would proceed canto by canto, they'd read all of the Acharya's commentaries. So we got this super in-depth, beautiful description of Govardhan being lifted by Krishna, being massaged by the rain, and all the different angles that the Acharyas would discuss. You know, what happened to the animals who were on top of Govardhan Hill? Some say, oh, they ran underneath. Some say, oh, Govardhan was so tall that his peak was poking above the clouds and all the animals went to the top, you know, out of the danger. Beautiful descriptions. And then if some Vartaka clouds are pouring down, then where's all this water going? You know, it's not only going to inundate Vrindavan, it's going to inundate the entire universe. And so then there's descriptions that, you know, Vasuki coiled around the area and contained water. And then how did the water not flood underneath? There's some descriptions that Krishna dug out a little portion of the hill underneath to create a mound on which they stood. So many beautiful descriptions are there. But the bottom line is, Girivardhari, Gopijana Vallabha, Girivardhari. He's the lifter of Govardhan Hill. And there's another beautiful relationship there, is that every time I see the beautiful little Giriraj we have on the altar, I always chant, Antaya Madhurabala Haridasavari, Yad Rama Krishna Chara, Sparsha Pramoda. By the touch of the lotus feet of Rama and Krishna, Govardhan feels great joy. By that sparsha, by that touch, he feels pramoda, extreme bliss. So being touched by this Krishna's finger, he's feeling great bliss. Oh, and that's another thing Prabhupada mentioned in his purport to Jayarama Madhava, is that he's demonstrating that to deal with Indra is the business of my little finger. This is easily dismissed. So when we have great difficulties, when we're faced by these sort of insurmountable difficulties like this pandemic, which feels like it's just devastating our universe, it's the business of Krishna's little finger to dismiss these troubles. And we have this opportunity to remember Krishna. And by remembering him, very difficult things become very easy. Right, in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vismritya Viparitansya, Sri Chaitanya. Katanchana Smrite Yasmin Duskaram Sukaram Bhavet. So that by somehow or other, by remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thank you, the Duskara, the very difficult things, Sukaram Bhavet, become very easy and pleasing. And Vismritya, by forgetting him, Viparitansa, just the opposite comes. So, remembering Krishna and how easily he dismisses Indra with his little finger, then we can also be happily situated. Jashodanandana, Braja Janaranja. We're all worshipping Krishna, Mahatmanastamam Bharata, the great souls, Daivam Prakritim Ashita, are worshipping Krishna in his capacity as Daiva, as with awe and reverence we recognize Krishna's supremacy. But when you look around this room, I guess I get a better view of all the chastising scenes than you do. But Yashoda isn't paying dandavats and worshiping. She's worshiping Krishna also on his birthday, decorating him so nicely. But she's got a whipping stick, and Krishna and Balaram look kind of afraid in that picture. Jashodanandana. So just this simple statement in the song, I mean, Bhaktivinoda Thakura encapsulates everything, he condenses it so perfectly. But just this statement, Jashodanandana, from that we get a whole purport. What does it mean to be Krishna's parent? Oh God, give us this day our daily bread, our Father who art in heaven. That means serve me. You're my dad, serve me. Whenever I'm with Maruti, he's making demands constantly. He's in the house, oh, I'm thirsty, oh, I'm hungry, oh, I want to go out, and you're serving constantly. That's the nature of having a child, is you're serving. So our Father who art in heaven, oh, hallowed be thy name. This awe and reverence also has the flip side of serve me. Whereas when we have Jashodananda, Krishna is the son of Mother Jashoda, now he's accepting service. And he's, accepting service. You're able to render service to Krishna in a very pleasing way for him. When I was just in Alachua, Pushkar Prabhu, the master, shloka master, was reciting shlokas with Maruti while we're at the springs. And I don't know how we got there, but he suddenly pulled out a quote from the 8th chapter of the 10th canto. I think it's 8th chapter. Traya Chopanishad Bhishcha. Traya, the 3 Vedas, Cha Upanishad, and the Upanishad, Samkhya Yoga, all the Shastras regarding Samkhya philosophy, Samkhya Yoga, Satvate. That can be the topics enumerated by the great Vaishnavas or the Vaishnava Sutras. Upagiyamana Mahatmyam. All of these prayers, the Upagiyamana, are being chanted by Mahatma, by the great souls. Harim, worshipping the Supreme Lord. Harim, Samat Manatmajam. Samat Manatmajam. Samanyatatmajam. That's what it is. Amanyata. But Mother Yashoda is thinking, Atmajam. He's my son. This same Lord who's being worshipped in the Vedas, who's being Upagiyamana Mahatmam, all these great, great souls are worshipping Krishna with the Vedas, the Upanishads, Samkhya philosophy, the Vaishnava Sutras. And Manyata, Yashoda Mata is thinking, oh, Atmajan, he's my son. What could be more wonderful than this? Narayana shows up and the gopis, they see this four-handed form, they're, oh, quickly, Jai Jai Narayana, can you tell us where Krishna went? We're looking for where that cowherd boy went. Could you point us in the direction? You've got 4 arms, surely they can help point. And Krishna went into so much ecstasy, he started losing the extra 2 arms there, just faltering his fall. So this relationship, Jashodananda, Manyata Atmaja, she's thinking of Krishna as her own son. And when he's in trouble, she's thinking, oh, I need to protect him. Krishna's in trouble. There's a very deep, profound meditation, which takes us, that's the glory of this Vaishnava Sampradaya, this line that takes you one step deeper than any other philosophy. Braja Jana Ranjan. And he's attracting all of the Braja Jana, all of the residents of Vrindavan. So if he's attracting them, and they're not attracted by anything else, it means he's capable of attracting the whole universe. And it's our responsibility to share topics of Krishna so that others can become equally fortunate which is the whole nature of Bhaktivinoda Thakura. If you look at his life example, he was so well situated materially that it's amazing that he found time for anything else. And yet he was a prolific author, putting out constantly material songs and excavating old devotional sites, pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And on top of all that, he was sending out literature to the West. He was probably the first one to put great topics of Krishna in libraries in the West, especially in London. Or maybe perhaps.
Hawaii too.
What's that?
Here in Hawaii. In 1969, we went to the University of Hawaii, and his books were there in the East-West Center Library.
Wow.
In Canada, yeah.
In Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, amazing. What Bhaktivinoda Thakura was capable of doing, getting literature out, and not only that, but in English. And that was passed on. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada took up that preaching in English. When I searched Bhaktivinoda Thakura in Pocket Vedas, one of the first quotes that came up was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's acknowledgement of his father, and the line began, aspersions of calumniation. Not only speaking English, but English so abstruse that none of us even know what he's talking about. You have to, pull out a dictionary to get any sort of, to glean anything from it. So wonderful. But yeah, I looked up aspersions of calumniation, and he says that anyway, you can look it up on your own time, but he gives this beautiful analogy that there's no room for the angular, how does he describe it? Angular discrepancy or something, that these aspersions, these, what's the word? Castigations or vituperation. I'm trying to think of a smaller word for putting down negative views of Vaishnava philosophy. Disparaging comments by mundane atheists and such. It's all an angular discrepancy on a spiritual plane that's 180 degrees. It's just like, wow, what a description. This ray of Vishnu, the product of a lifetime of sincere bhakti. Bhaktivinoda Thakura was blessed with such a son as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, who could write in such a way. But Bhaktivinoda Thakura himself, I was reading last night, the Saragrahi Vaishnava. Saragrahi. The Vaishnava is not seeking anything external. He doesn't need, to research so many mundane topics. Grahi means to accept or to seek Sara, the essence-seeking Vaishnava, or just translated somewhere else, the connoisseur, or the eclectic Vaishnava, the one who's looking here and there in all different places to find that Sara, that essence, that sadam, which is ultimately Srimad Bhagavatam. So yeah, that when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada acknowledges his father, right before that, he's saying that this Brahma Samhita and Bhagavatam are the two ultimate literatures. Obviously, it's his intro to Brahma Samhita, but he's pointing to the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So yeah, the Saragrahi Vaishnava, it's kind of a long poem, but I think, let's read it. Why not? The Jiva Soul. Alas for those who spend their days in festive mirth and joy, the dazzling, deadly, liquid forms their hearts for error employ. The shining bottles charm their eyes and draw their hearts' embrace. The slaves of wine can never rise from what we call disgrace. Was man intended to be a brute in work and heart? Should man, the lord of all around, from common sense depart? Man's glory is in common sense, dictating us the grace that man is made to live in love, the beauteous heavens embrace. The flesh is not our own, alas, the mortal frame a chain. The soul confined for former wrongs should try to rise again. Why then this childish play in that which cannot be our own, which falls within 100 years as if a rose ablown? Our life is but a rosy hue, to go ere long for naught. The soul alone would last fore'er, with good or evil fraught. How deep the thought of times to be, how grave the aspect looks, and wrapped in awe become, oh we, when reading nature's books. Man's life to him a problem dark, a screen both left and right. No soul hath come to tell us what exists beyond our sight. But then a voice, how deep and soft, within ourselves is left. Man, man, thou art immortal soul, thee death can never melt. For thee thy sire on high has kept a store of bliss above. To end of time thou art, O his, who wants but purest love. O love, thy power and spell benign, now melt my soul to God. How can my earthly words describe that feeling soft and broad? Enjoyment, sorrow, what but lots, to which the flesh is heir? The soul that sleeps alone concludes, in them it hath a share. And then, my friends, no more enjoy, nor weep for all below. The woman, wine, and flesh of beasts, no love on these bestow. But thine to love thy brother man, and give thyself to God. And God doth know your wages fair, this fact is true and broad. Forget the past that sleeps. I think my grandma, mentioned this one to me when I was little. Forget the past that sleeps, and ne'er the future dream at all. But act in times that are with thee, and progress thee shall call. But tell me not in reasoning cold, the soul is made alone by earth's mechanic lifeless rules, and to destruction prone. My God, who gave us life and all, alone the soul can kill, or give it all the joys above, his promise to fulfill. So push thy onward march, O soul, against an evil deed that stands with soldiers, hate and lust, a hero be indeed. Maintain thy post in spirit world as firmly as you can. Let never matter push thee down. O stand, heroic man. O Sadagrahi Vaishnav soul, thou art an angel fair. Lead me on to Vrindavan, and spirit's power declare. There rests my soul from matter free, upon my lover's arms. Eternal peace and spirit's love are all my chanting charms. It's really something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Epic.
Yeah, this is, especially just the way it progresses slowly from detaching from material things to a voice of hope. And if you look at the punctuation, it progressively gets more excited, exclamation marks. You stand, heroic man. You lead on to Vrindavan, leaning on my lover's arms. Give thyself to love. And just such nice, old English, the apostrophes forever. It's beautiful, beautiful writing. So this is the legacy of Bhaktivinoda Thakura. He reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still and sound. The Vaishnava dies to live, and living tries to spread the whole holy name around. So here's a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakura that I will quickly chant. But let us read. The dust of the lotus feet of pure devotees, enthusiastic devotional service, and service to the pure devotees of the highest order are the roots of the creeper of devotion. Dust of their feet, enthusiastic devotional service, and service to the pure devotees. These are the highest order, are the roots of the creeper of devotion. Both Prahlad Maharaj and Jad Bharat have nice verses in Srimad Bhagavatam saying that we should take Abhishek, Raja Pado Abhishekam, bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of the great souls. The holy days like Ekadasi and Janmashtami are the mother of devotion for those devotees who respect them. Let the holy places of Krishna's pastimes be my places of worship, and bless me. May I always visit all the holy places associated with the Leela of Lord Chaitanya and his devotees. When I hear the sound of mridanga in my heart, I always desire to join in kirtan. And when I hear the bona fide songs describing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, my heart dances in ecstasy. Whenever I see the transcendental Shri Vigrahas of Radha Krishna, I am in bliss, for by taking their lordship's prasad, we can conquer over the material elements. This is a very important point for devotees. We have something very unique in this Shri Vigraha, the transcendental Shri Vigrahas of Radha and Krishna, Panchatattva. The Archie Vishnu Shila Bhir, Guru Shri Naramati. There's a very nice verse describing that one has a hellish mentality, or one lives in hell, when one sees the Vigraha as Shiladvi, as just a rock. Archie Vishnu Shiladvi. Gurushu Naramatir, when one sees one's spiritual master as an ordinary man, or the Vaishnavas as belonging to some particular jati, some particular caste or line, material line. So this worshipping the Sri Vigrahas and recognizing their the opportunity to relate directly with Krishna is wonderful. Whenever Bhaktivinoda Thakura is saying, whenever he sees the Vigrahas, he is blessed. And then this is my favorite line. One day while performing devotional practices, I saw my house transformed into Goloka Vrindavan. When I take the charanamrit of the deity, I see the holy Ganges waters that come from the feet of Lord Vishnu, and my bliss knows no bounds. Good timing, we just had Vamana's appearance day. So when, as Trivikrama's feet poke the outer reaches of the universe, Ganges flows in. So when we're taking the charanamrit, another thing that I can sometimes do mechanically, chanting Jai Radha Madhava, going over, oh, here's some sweet yogurt. This is charanamrit. This is the Ganges flowing over the feet of Lord Vishnu. And the prayer when taking charanamrit, by the way, also comments that untimely death is stopped by taking charanamrit. Is free from all vyadhi, from all disease. So a good practice to take charanamrit. There was a nice story that my Gurudev tells. I forget the Mataji's name. It's one of your god sisters, and she was known for making wonderful baked goods, cakes. And so she had sent a cake with some devotees to Mayapur for Prabhupada. And the route there, it had taken some time. It had gone through, England, and then another long trip. And by the time it made it to Mayapur, it had become poison. And it still looked good. And of course, those who had some power at the time, namely sannyasis, absconded with this cake, went up to the rooftop, and devoured it. And next thing you know, devotees are running into Prabhupada. Oh, Brahmananda Maharaj, and so on. They're all, reeling in agony and retching and looking wretched. And what do? It looks like they're going to expire. And Prabhupada said, just give them, they should fast and only take charanamrit. And so after a week or so, they were better. Just taking charanamrit. That was the expert Vaidya advice from Srila Prabhupada. So this charanamrit is so special, so healing spiritually and apparently materially as well. So, taking the charanamrit, Bhaktivinoda Thakura says, my bliss knows no bounds. By seeing the tulsi tree, my heart feels joy, and Lord Madhava is also satisfied. When I eat the prasad favored by Lord Chaitanya, it is a new life's experience. This is a little reference to Mahaprabhu's special affection for shak, spinach and leafy greens. Bhaktivinoda Thakura concludes by saying, whosoever attains the stage of enthusiasm for these devotional practices will be supremely blissful wherever he may be. So everyone is seeking Anandamayo Bhasa, the soul is seeking bliss, and all these little jivas are looking for something. Vaisheshik Guru gives a nice description in his book distribution courses that you see all these little jivas looking in the store shop windows. They're all saying, where is Krishna, where is Krishna? And when you give them the opportunity to present that book, then they finally get what they were looking for. They're looking for happiness. They're looking in these different store windows, and it's always going to give them something temporary. So this permanent solution to our problem of being miserable is these practices that Bhaktivinoda Thakura describes in this song, beginning Shuddha Bhakata Charanari, beginning with accepting the dust of such great souls as Bhaktivinoda Thakura, Gorky Srilas Babaji, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, and all of the wonderful Vaishnavas in this Sangha. So serving the Vaishnavas is that first step towards this supreme bliss. And if there's anything anybody else would like to share about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, any comments, questions, corrections, my dear mother?
Yeah, the poem you read, that why then this childish play, and then it ends with the forward march about the soul, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking how incredible that is. It's a spiritual war cry, is what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's establishing himself as someone very learned, because don't forget the British are there. So he's using their language and he's using it against them. He's using it in a way that shows that he's an extremely learned person. So he's not only speaking English, he's speaking the loftiest English. He's taking all their greatest poems they've ever written at the time. He's using all of their themes and tropes, even the way that it ends, and it's this call to like war. So I don't know if you're familiar with the poem Onward, Christian Soldiers March, and it's like this rallying cry to war, to take out the rest of the world and to take out anyone who's not a Christian. So he's using their exact language to say, onward, think of Krishna. So he's kind of turned it all around against them. So I just thought that was really cool.
Nice point, yeah. Yeah, it's the brilliant tactic. Yeah, what a poem. Every time I read it, there's a couple lines in particular that I can't help but smile. It's just so good. Such brilliant writing. Any other thoughts, comments?
Right now, Sundar and Kavi are organizing a Pushpanjali.
Jai.
It was a gathering of the flowers right at this moment. So that
Yeah, we're fasting till noon anyway, so there's nowhere for everyone to rush off to. We can keep discussing Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Katala. But if there's nothing else, then everyone can go about what they wish to do, or we can chant something. I don't know. Someone guide me. I'm just the guy sitting here.
We can still keep discussing. I'll go out and see, because I did just see Kavi and Sundar, so perhaps they're ready for us.
Today is our Harinam Sankirtan Day.
Yeah.
I just want to make an announcement. Love to have anyone who wants to join us come out. And yes, and it'll be where the surfer statue is.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's fabulous.
The Dukes.
Oh,